Welcome to our Pro Revenge, where douchebags get what's coming to them. Our first story comes from a deleted user. Back in the mid-2000s, my friends and I used to hang out at this little billiards place in a nearby town. You could rent a table by the hour or just pay per game. We'd shoot a few rounds, watch whatever sport was on TV, and just vibe. It was chill. No drama. No weirdos. Until one day, about 3 months into our regular visits, this dude shows up and takes our usual table. No big deal. We weren't in a rush and just kept chatting. But like 20 minutes later, one of my buddies goes over and politely tells the guy we wanted to play the next game. The guy straight up dismisses him, like, yeah, whatever. Of course, when the next game comes, he doesn't get off the table. I go over, ask nicely again, and even another woman says she wants to play after us. He ignores us both. Eventually, he leaves the table. We swoop in and drop quarters to start our game. But guess what? The green number 6 ball is missing. Turns out, Homebar took the ball with him to the bathroom. We tell the manager, but it's 12:30 a.m. and they're closing soon. The manager doesn't want a scene, so instead of kicking the guy out, he just grabs us a spare ball so we can play. The guy strolls out of the bathroom, sees us playing, smirks, and walks out to the patio for a smoke, with his beer and the green ball in hand. Then he walks back inside and tosses the ball onto the table, messing up our setup right before last call. Real clown behavior. Now, one of my boys suggests we follow this dude home and report him as a drunk driver to the highway patrol. 3 of us are down, so as he drives off, we all use our trusty Nextel push-to-talk phones to coordinate and call the cops. We each give detailed reports, make, model, license plate, and how the guy was swerving and almost clipped another car. We figure he lives nearby, so time's ticking. The 4th guy in our group, the one who didn't call, decides to tail him. Minutes later, he excitedly hits us up. He watched a cop pull the guy over right in front of him. That week's police blotter listed a man arrested after multiple calls about erratic driving. Turns out, he wasn't busted for DUI, but he was arrested for driving with a suspended license. Karma came knocking fast. Our next story is from you, pretentious banana. I was an art student living with my parents during college to save money. A couple of years ago, my dad installed a security system with 2 cameras, one aimed at the driveway and side door, the other pointing toward the street out front. It came with an app that pinged us with alerts. I also had a shed I asked to use as my art studio since my work can get messy. Paint stains everything, and I was over the smell of tangerine cleaner. It took about 2 weeks to fix the place up. It still looked like trash, but it was my trash. Anyway, we had a car break-in problem in our neighborhood. Like, way too often. I drove a beat-up Ford Tempo and didn't keep anything valuable inside, so I didn't really care. I was in a visual communication program, and our professor assigned us a fun term project: recreate a piece from our textbook or write a 10-page essay about it. I picked Van Hoff's Cafe Terrace at night and decided to recreate it. I put in hours, and smoked a lot of weed doing it, lol. One night I'm at a small party and get a motion alert from the side camera. 3 blurry teens run past. I figure it's no big deal. When I get home, I see my car door slightly open. Annoying, but not unusual. Then I remember the alert and check the rest of the property. The shed was last. After all, it was locked. But the lock. On the ground. The sheet I'd hung to cover the ceiling. Torn and burned. All my art. Ripped off the walls. Paint everywhere. Pastels stomped into the floor. My cheap little stool, Hermit, snapped in half. Worst of all, my term project was sliced up and smashed using my own bong, a 9mm glass beaker my friend had given me. This was 2 weeks before it was due. I was beyond livid. I emailed my professor with pictures and got a 1-week extension. I filed a police report and started cleaning up. Even with the extension, I skipped sleep and still managed to finish my project early. It wasn't as good, but whatever. I couldn't let this go. I was hell-bent on getting revenge. So I started baiting them. I left loose change and $5 bills on my dashboard and kept my doors unlocked. I also kept a baseball bat in the shed. I monitored the cameras religiously. A few people looted my car, but not them. I almost gave up. Then, a month later, after finals, I was sketching in the shed at 2 a.m. Suddenly, a motion alert from the front camera. I peeked, and saw the same 3 blurs ransacking my car. I grabbed the bat and turned off the shed lights. They started approaching. I waited. Then bam, I jumped out swinging the bat like a horror movie villain. One of them screamed so loud I think a dog howled back. They took off running. I chased after them, half expecting to trip, but then one of them slipped on the wet lawn. I caught up, grabbed him by the hoodie, and yelled, "Were you the ones who trashed my shed?" He stammered, "I'm sorry. I won't do it again." "What's your name?" "Matthew." His name was not Matthew. I growled, "Give me your effing wallet." He chucked it at me and bolted. I picked it up, $5 plus another $40 in probably stolen cash. Inside, his high school ID, real name and all. I looked him up on Facebook. Found his mom. Messaged her everything. I also emailed his school and let them know how disappointed I was as a former student. A few days later, his mom showed up at my house, with another mom, some older guy, and all 3 teens. They had to apologize. In person. Damn right they did. Our next story is from u_compile_commits. Mobile phones became a thing in my country around 2004, just after I finished high school. My parents bought me a second-hand Nokia, bulky, basic, but it was mine. I told myself I'd one day buy a brand new phone with my own money. When college began, I had a 2-hour daily commute. I had excelled in high school and won several awards. One of them came with a cash prize from a national bank, just enough to finally buy a new phone. I bought a Sony, unaware that the number used to belong to someone else named Bitzer. Within 3 days, I was getting calls from debt collectors asking for Bitzer. Even 2 decades later, some still call. I didn't want to give up the number, so I just blocked the calls one by one. In 2009, after graduation, I got a job. In 2010, I was assigned to a notorious project run by a tyrant of a project manager, Bits. He ruled through chaos, micromanagement, public tirades, and endless email storms. He scheduled meetings during lunch and after hours, changed deadlines on a whim, and bullied everyone while taking credit for our work. Eventually, I found out his full name, Beta. The same name as the mystery debt dodger from my phone numbers past. I talked to a mentor from my old neighborhood who confirmed they were the same guy. That's when it hit me. Time for revenge. I unblocked every number in my phone. My daily spam calls jumped from 5 to 18. But this time, I had a new tactic. I answered politely, explained that the number no longer belonged to Bitzer, and gave them his actual number. The fallout was delicious. Turns out, this guy had been dodging debts for years. He took loans in the names of relatives, his wife, parents, even uncles. He gave my number as the contact on all of them. He owed more than $200,000 and had almost 20 open cases. These were aggressive debt collection agencies, and once they had the right number, they pounced. At work, his manager started getting calls. 2 months later, he was fired. And just like that, Bitzer disappeared from my life. No more calls, no more chaos, just sweet, sweet revenge.